Radiant team pick.
Yeah, I don't think it's a real sponsorship, guys. But it you know, let's have some fun with it, right? The flag is the logo, so at least for now. We'll see what happens in the future. This is definitely a team with some potential, so we'll see what ends up happening. Of course, Mason, TI player. CCNC, I don't... Yeah, Optic. CCNC is a TI player as well. So they got a couple of TI players and some definitely very solid names in the scene. Ju Bei, very highly touted Canadian player, I will say, if I do say so myself. But back to the draft. So we talking about the Doom in the 1v1 matchups. He's pretty darn good, and he's decent as well alongside an Earth Spirit if they opt to go dual lanes, which are a little bit less common as of recent. But that's a very tanky strength duo, and they will pick up the DP here. So very interesting hero that we don't get to see all too often, but is very strong in certain situations. And there are some really very good applications of her spells in this game. You've got the Silence, which is effective against all 4 heroes of complexity thus far. Of course, it's a little bit difficult to land on Phoenix because generally he's going to be diving before Supernova. So in that sense, a little difficult. But the Silence against the Brewmaster, the Bane, and the Lifestealer can be big game for this Death Prophet going into this one. So look for that as well. She's got good front line with the Earth Spirit and the Doom. And they've got pretty good chase ability in that sense. Also, we've seen how good Frost Armor can be, and Death Prophet is certainly a good carrier of that ability. With her siphons and the slow and damage that it outputs, she is able to continue to pursue, feeling very safe. So I really like this pick coming out from Faze. It's definitely been their best pick of the draft thus far. compLexity are going to have the final pick in the draft. So they can sort of counter that up here, and we'll see what Faze picks for their 1 position. They're mulling over the ban right now. Still a lot of reserve time available. And yes, I do have to stream with 5-minute delay, guys. So let me just, that reminds me. We are open mic, so we're good for in-game if you guys choose to watch it that way. And of course, you can mute me in that configuration, so have fun if that's the case. OD ban going to come out. What the heck happened? All the Radiant heroes have frozen, guys. The Void, is that... Okay, this is interesting. Void was banned and time just stopped on the Radiant side. What?
10 seconds remaining.
What? That is a bug I've yet to see in the draft screen, ever. So there's a first for everything, but we'll see how they fare in the game going forward. It is going to be the Void ban, obviously a very good combination with the Death Prophet. And we, interestingly enough, see the Clinks ban coming out. Faze going to go for Mason's Weaver here. This is his absolute signature hero by far, bar none. His best hero, and does do very well against the Lifestealer. There's 2 heroes that I look at as agility carries against Lifestealer who are very good, guys, in your pubs. Weaver and Lycan. And the reason being is their max move speed. A Lifestealer relies a lot on his open wounds to stay in the fight. It kind of serves like a satanic. He wants to be able to open wounds you, rage up, you know, start the fight off, get a little low, open wounds, rage up, get back to full, scare you off, and continue to chase you down. And Weaver and Lycan, if they kind of hold their abilities for max move speed, can kite the open wounds completely. So they are very good heroes in that right. We talked about the ban earlier of the Beastmaster and the Prophet, the physical damage into Lifestealer, and the lack of fear of the rage. You know, the Nature's Prophet has a Sprout, the Beastmaster has a Primal Roar, the Void has a Chronosphere. So all these heroes don't care about the rage and the open wounds. Weaver doesn't care about the rage and the open wounds in the sense that he just right clicks anyways and he can kite the open wounds. So very good last 2 picks from Faze, and even maybe even a more interesting one here from compLexity is Limp's Chaos Knight. So that may be a middle lane Chaos Knight here. This is really cool. They could, of course, put the Brewmaster mid lane, and they could put the the Lifestealer mid lane, but I think that FaZe just flexes their lanes to put the Weaver against the Lifestealer no matter what. So I actually do believe this will be a mid lane Chaos Knight for Limp. Very cool. We'll see how it ends up panning out. The cosmetics have been loaded and the Radiant heroes began to move again, guys. So they are alive. Void couldn't, of course, the Chronosphere doesn't last forever. So, again, hope you guys are enjoying your Saturday. I am pleased to bring you this bounty of Dota 2 as we begin the very first matchup of the North American qualifiers for the ImbaTV Minor. Something to note, guys, compLexity came 4th and Flying Penguins came 5th in the Dream League Season 11 qualifier. Unfortunately, the top 3 teams from that qualifier moved on to Dream League, but the winner of this minor also gets a slot in Dream League. So there is hope once again for Eternal Envy squad, Flying Penguins, and for this compLexity squad for Limp and Z-Freak. They've both got a big following as well. So there's still hope for these NA squads. And in fact, they end up winning more money if you go through this route, right? Rather than just straight up qualifying, you win the major, you get that bounty, and then you make it through to or win the minor, excuse me, and then make it through to the major. So all in accordance with whatever they call it, Keikaku, whatever the heck it is. I'm no weeb. I wish I was, but I am a big Dragon Ball fan. All right. We may see an engagement here. CC&C on the low ground, 3-4-3, 3-4-3, excuse me, not 3-4-3. CC&C in trouble here. Open wounds there from Miracle. It's all they really need. They'll skill up the Brain Sap as well from 3-4-3 and get the first blood for compLexity. Very well played as well, because you want to maybe think, you know, you're in a pub there and you're that Bane sitting on the high ground. It's like, let me skill Nightmare so we can all collapse around him, skill maybe the stun on the CK and kill him off, but you want that Brain Sap for lane. So very wisely, they get the open wounds from Miracle, because it doesn't really matter what his first skill is. That's a life stealer, and you allow this trading skill to be picked up by 3-4-3 while still getting that first blood. So very well played from compLexity. And it looks like we will trade, 3 bounty runes for the Radiant, maybe even 4. So that first blood a bit costly for compLexity side, as they end up losing all the bounty runes, and there is a gold lead on Faze's side. You see that first blood kill, 300 gold lead, 4 bounty runes, 300 gold lead in the opposite direction. We are not going to see an aggressive tri-lane, but we will see an aggressive dual lane from Z-Freak and Death. So there will be dual lanes here from compLexity side, and of course, if those do go well enough, they should come out of the laning stage with an experience advantage. So it'll be interesting to see how this pans out. Z-Freak a little bit deep behind enemy lines here. We'll scout a bit and maybe catch a glimpse of Jubei in a moment. Meanwhile, top lane Monkeys Forever, you know, he's going to be doing solo sacrificed offlaner things. He even has a terrible matchup 1v1 against the Lifestealer. Doom has very low armor, as you guys can see early on, 0. So even 1v1, he'd have some trouble. Meanwhile, Boris looks like he's dueling up with Z-Freak. Not much to mention there. And mid lane, CC&C getting a little low. Limp thinking about jumping forward to pressure him, but not going to do so. Doing well in this lane, though, on the CK. 5-2, now 6-2 to the 3-0 of CC&C. And it's definitely well documented how poor DP's right-click animation and projectile speed is early on. The damage isn't bad from the DP. As you can see, she's sitting around 70 just with the null tally and the fairy fire and the mantle of intelligence, but definitely nothing close to a CK. And CK is a hero with a pretty good HP pool, so he should be able to stand just fine in this lane, especially if it is a true 1v1. We do see the Earth Spirit make his way over to the west, but he's just doing some stacking at the moment. Hasn't really contributed much to a lane. And we talked about this in the draft screen, right? Is that if you build resilient lanes, strong lanes, they've got 3 strength cores, 1 in each lane for compLexity. It's very hard for an Earth Spirit to get much done in the early game. He will jump forward. The denial of the bounty rune comes out from CCNC, and Limp will put a big crit of his club into Boris to back him away. But we're going to see Boris struggle a bit in this early game, I believe. And again, it goes back to compLexity drafting some really beefy lanes here. Phoenix, very difficult to kill. Both Fire Spirits and Icarus Dive have defensive capabilities as well as offensive. So Phoenix a difficult kill, and of course Brewmaster, CK, and Lifestealer all very tanky in their own right. So I think the early game, aside from that little gaff on the 4 bounty runes, should go pretty well for compLexity here. And the CS starting to be indicative of that. Mason keeping up, though, holding his own, keeping pace with the opposite cores. And we'll see the Brewmaster CS inflated a little bit there as he got a couple of skeletons in the creeps. But still, all things going well here for compLexity in the early going. And now we do see Boris rotate up to the top lane. They can try and kill off the Bane. That is one thing they can do. Boris, though, didn't actually drop a stone there. Had 6 stones and doesn't connect on 343. Perhaps he saw the defensive nightmare coming out and decided, why waste a stone? It's going to be that like second or two of invulnerability that the 343 Bane has, so he'll probably just kind of deny his ability. But in any case, the roll does not connect. Mason, a couple of wards ferried out to the Lich, but Mason's okay regen-wise, it feels. He's got 6 tangos and a mango to help him Shikuchi away if need be. Meanwhile, mid lane, a nice 3-second stun from Limp. CCNC tries to get the Siphon off and actually does do it for a while, but Limp is really not phased at all. Again, no pun intended. As he continues to press forward in this mid lane. 24-7 on the CK to a 15-4 tally from the Death Prophet. Oh, nice scan by the Dire side. Did you catch that, guys? Wow, Limp is going to catch Jubei in the mid lane, and really... You know, obviously they called the missing from bottom lane, and they do have this ward here scouting the rune. So he did see it. So he was aware that Jubei was in the mid lane, but I still don't feel he feels very threatened. And now he's got the creeps under his tower. Jubei, though, up top now. Maybe they look for a 3-4-3 kill. They are far forward. Miracle doesn't actually have a point in the rage, but they look right at the Bane. Of course, the easier of the 2 kills. Miracle will put some right clicks into the Lich in the meantime, but a return kill, a first kill on the board for Faze, as they take out the Bane. A pretty uneventful early game thus far.
What have we here?
Limp having a fantastic time mid. Death gonna do a little bit of relaxing time at the shrine by his lonesome. Looks like Bane has vacated this top lane for the moment. 3-4-3 smoked up. Z-Freak doing a little trading with Mason. He's actually going to jump forward, hit him with another Fire Spear. Mason in trouble here, has one more Shikuchi. And there is a sentry down, so they saw him make his way over to the west. Z-Freak, though, doesn't really have any offensive power left. And Mason will scurry away, but it's time spent out of the lane, and it was the hero doing the best. Faze will do a little bit of a team bonding ritual here at the shrine, as they get good value out of that. Z-Freak hanging around for the 6-minute rune, makes his way uphill just to be safe, and Boris will be the one to pick up the arcane rune. Limp should be well aware of this, and 3-4-3 making his way in towards mid. This could be a dangerous move from the Bane. Nightmare is there. Right clicks coming through. Rolling Boulder does connect right onto the right CK, and CCNC up to the high ground. Nicely played. I believe that was a kick from Boris that gets him up to the high ground. There's nothing else that could have displaced him like that. And the Boulder Smash is on cooldown. So a game-saving play from Boris, and a timely arcane rune going to help him get back to fighting shape. He is a little low on HP, but can throw out a couple of spells if need be. So it's a Phantasm used here. And that is a major cooldown here. 2 minutes. But the lane's still going very well for the CK, so just a bit unfortunate in any case. It does give Mason some time to have a 1v1 with the Brewmaster, however, as they did bring over the Bane and the Phoenix to the mid lane. Excuse me, top. 3-4-3, Monkeys Forever. Gonna do a little bit of jockeying for position. Now Death, bottom lane, catches a swarm. And will have the Drunken Brawler active there, so very difficult to kill off. But Mason gonna dive for this one. Under the tower. Nice stick, but it's not enough. And Mason with the all chat emotes there. Chat wheel spam. But he'll get himself a kill. Nice solo kill for Mason at that. Is low on mana, however, so not sure how long he can sit around in this lane. We definitely know how well Mason can play this Weaver. He's very comfortable on it. And is very familiar with the limits of the hero. Sentry down top lane. Miracle has a level 1 open wounds. Doesn't choose to use it here. Hanging around in the trees is Jubei's Lich. And mid lane we do see Z-Freak hanging around on the Phoenix. It is nighttime, so the Radiant have no idea, or at least no direct indication to the Phoenix's positioning. Fire Spirit going to fly out. Again, the same thing happens. Exorcism is going to be popping. Boris runs in, and Limp is immediately going to back out. They'll take out the Phoenix. The second Phantasm of the game effectively wasted, as they will take out one of the illusions. It's a good roll from Limp. I think both times. Okay, never mind. Never mind. Noobcaster here. Thought there was still that RNG extra illusion business, but half of the tower taken down here mid. Exorcism gonna expire just now. Siphon comes out, Brain Sap to counter, and the Lich is gonna be nightmared and found out in the river. Feels like overall Mason and Miracles, Weaver and Lifestealer respectively, kind of the biggest beneficiaries of that skirmish mid lane is that they're just farming alone. Really a Lich for a Phantasm cooldown. So we've seen Limp be very liberal with his Phantasm early on, and unfortunately hasn't quite worked out, but he hasn't necessarily been heavily punished for it either. Meanwhile, bottom lane, looks like the Dire do want to set up 3-4-3 nearby. Is level 4, so no grip available here around the 10-minute mark, but Miracle in the bottom lane. And the Radiant do not have an idea the Lifestealer is here. Now they'll catch wind of him, as Boris is going to be body blocked up. It's going to be tough for him to roll out. He tries to get it, but a nice block from Miracle, and they'll kill him off. Dive forward, gets the slow onto Jubei. They will use the Primal Split as well. Mason has turned away and ran from his teammates. He's up to the north. Double kill for the Phoenix. They do have, of course, the Earth Panda, who has the Demolish, so can beat into the tower, but that is going to expire here. And so Miracle's first rotation will bear fruit as they do get a kill, but it gives Monkeys Forever some time on the Doom to farm away. He's level 6 and does have his Doom available. And now TP in towards mid lane from CC&C. Limp has a double damage rune expire here. And the Siege Creep will put some punishment into the tier 1. So still, to 11 minutes in, only 7 kills in the game, and all the tier 1s are standing, albeit some of them a little bit unhealthy. The mid Dire tier 1 and the Radiant safe lane tier 1 specifically. But sort of everyone content to farm in this early game. And we'll take our first look at net worth here. And the Dire are sitting pretty, although tailed very shortly behind by the Radiant. It's only a 1k lead at this point. And again, some of that comes down to the fact that no towers have been taken just yet by either side. Not sure there are any big items to speak of yet. Looks like Dragonlance build coming out from Mason. And he does go for the treads. And there is a Midas on Miracle. We've seen that Midas Radiance quite a bit.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
And it just continues to help the Lifestealer to scale, whereas he's not the best hero at scaling without finding kills. There is some deep vision for the Radiant here in the mid lane. And so they are aware that Limp is effectively alone. And trying to make a move around with the smoke. Jubei. Limp probably going to be doomed up here. in mid. Death is nearby, but has no real way to get down. Oh, again, Limp with the scan on point. What a play by this mid laner for compLexity. He's hit 2 scans now of smoked or invisible heroes, and they'll bring in Death for good measure. Radiant do see Death now, but they'll secure the tower. They will know that they've sort of been found out and just show themselves. But they do take the tower. Monkey's forever the one to pick up the last hit. Miracle, meanwhile, beating on bottom lane. He is alone for the moment, but being joined shortly by 343 and Death. However, there is a ward scouting this out. Boris has used his spells now and needs to be a little bit careful as Miracle is joined up. Swarm goes out onto Z-Freak. I'm clicking on the bug, not the hero. And, oh, Frost Armor's there as well. This should be a dead Phoenix. He has a Supernova, though, if he wants to pop it, and will. Mason could be in a little bit of trouble here. Do they have a Nightmare? They do. This should pop. Meanwhile, on the south side, the Lich taken out to the CK. They drop a sentry down. There is a time lapse from Mason, but it's not going to bring him too far away. And a nice dive from Z-Freak keeps him within eye range of the Weaver. The Weaver does end up making it away, but really not much use for it. Just the Supernova. The Phoenix would have died in any case, and they get the tower bottom lane in the meantime. Miracle, the one to pick up the last hit. So compLexity, maybe a slightly beneficial move across the map for them, or set of circumstances rather than move. But they did lose their tier 1 mid just a moment ago. So again, just an extremely even game. We did talk about dual lanes for compLexity, so they're paying a bit of dividends here. We're looking at a 4K experience lead, but as far as gold goes, pretty even. And the experience mostly, it looks like, in the Phoenix. Z-Freak level 9. Over the 6, 6, and 4 of the other supports in the game. We did see a double kill for Z-Freak. He is 2, 1, and 2 on the Phoenix, so certainly that helps. But the dual lanes as well. Top lane 343 is in a position to mount a defense here, but it's 4 heroes from the Radiant, as they do have Boris nearby scouting for any rotations. So it looks like the tower will be conceded, although 343, yeah, he's going to TP away to the shrine. Not much gathered elsewhere, however, so definitely a nice move for the Radiant. Smoke up from Limp, who does have the 2 bracers and the Phantasm. Ooh, Exorcism going to be popped here. They're feeling very strong. And a wraparound from Limp could find them. Well, the ward going to be popped down. Primal Split is there. Boris going to be chased and found out in the trees. Dust is going to be there as well. They get the sleep out onto the Weaver, and they'll grip up the DP. The DP being focused down. CC&C taken out. Mason in trouble now. Spirit. Oh, the Supernova on top of 3. They'll bring in 1. Cyclone up another. The Lich goes down. The Doom is in trouble. And Monkey's Forever does get his Midas off just to please Grant. But he's going to end up dying anyways. Huge move from compLexity. Triple kill for exactly the hero they wanted on, and that is going to be the Limp CK. Z-Freak has just been on point. Drops down the Fire Spirits, 3-man dive, 3-man Supernova. They kill off the Lich instantly with the Phantasm. A really nice spread of targets. They get the Nightmare on the Weaver, the Grip on the Death Prophet, and they pincer in the Earth Spirit in the trees. So beautiful movement from compLexity all the way around to find that team fight. Really nicely played. 9-3 is the score, and the lead will open up a bit. compLexity, to their benefit as well, or to their pleasure, do have some extra tier 1s on the map they have yet to take to this point, and they're not great building hitters. That certainly is one knock on their lineup. Really, Lifestealer, the only one who can kind of do it. We see the silence here, but it's only level 1. Definitely felt like a level 1 silence. And a TP out will be successful from Miracle. Oh! Yules? Nice! From CC&C, barely on the last second. And they will expend the Doom there, which is interesting to me. And Monkeys drops the Frog. Maybe he'd pre-casted that, trying to cancel the TP, and the moment he came down from Yules, but I'm not sure that's how that interaction exactly works. In any case, they do get 1,000 gold net, if you consider both sides, for Faze, and 1,000 experience for that kill. So it's a big kill. This could be a big one as well. There is a sentry already down here bottom for Mason. The grip is available, but Mason's playing very safely. And does kind of sniff this out, as he just saw the enemy carry go down solo top lane, so he knows he's not alone, and makes a very wise decision to move all the way towards top. Radiant's progression, well, we're pretty damn close here for Miracle, as he's got a Midas available after that death and has the relic, so it looks like he was able to buy out before dying there. But still an untimely death. It looks like he may have just even had the Radiance at this point had he not died, perhaps with one more wave. So he is still very close. And CCNC Exorcism at the ready. Looking for a Midas of his own, in fact, after the Yule Scepter. And a timely Arcane Rune. I don't think the Dire had any idea this was happening, but they do now scan, and it catches Boris and Jubei, and they'll immediately jump into the Primal Split. And the Phantasm forward jump onto Monkeys, get the grip on him and kill off the Doom. Boulder Smash flies through just Brewlings, and a Cyclone up into the air for the Death Prophet. CCNC's been kind of isolated out here. They'll Cyclone him up once again. Death is nearby, but the Exorcism doing a lot of work with the Sinister Gaze. He gets the clap off onto Jubei, but the Frost Blast going to keep him in range. Crypt Swarm gets him low and kills him off. He'll silence up the CK. Now CCNC going to press forward with Mason. Miracle in the back lines can't really do much. Sunray keeping Limp alive for now, but Mason will finish him off. Now CCNC has been isolated out by Miracle, but he's not slowed any longer. And the Frost Blast and the Silence is there onto the lifestealer. This engagement looking very good for Faze here. Swarm does connect onto Miracle. He's trying to get an Infest off, but he's going to be silenced again in this fight. Gets the Infest off, comes out, Rage is there. Mason low, under a sentry. Radiant's going to be, well, sorry, that was the Supernova burn. I thought maybe the Radiance had come in to kill off the Lich. But from the low ground, Z-Freak going to keep his LS alive. Mason, deep behind enemy lines. TP in from Death, but they do not see the Weaver, not the Reaver. And overall, they at least thwart the Roche attempt, but they do lose Miracle. And unfortunately, I missed the fight recap. CCNC stays alive. They got the Doom early on. And I believe the Brewmaster did die as well as top lane. They do finally get CCNC. So now you can say that engagement is better. But I felt like a 2-for-2. The Brewmaster and the LS for the Lich and the Doom. So it was a definite advantage Phase until that CCNC kill. But now grabbing that CCNC kill and the Radiance completed up for Miracle, compLexity feeling a lot better. Mason is going to find himself a bounty room, as does Boris, and bottom lane neither have been acquired yet, but it looks like, again, we will see a 4 bounty rune pickup from the side of Phase. Frost Armor goes out mid, will only delay the inevitable, as Miracle gets the last hit. He does have a double damage rune and that fresh Radiance, so unlikely we are to see Phase take a fight. But they did have the Arcane rune on CCNC, so they still do have the Exorcism up. CCNC is level 14. It's the top of the chart as far as levels go. He's closely followed by Miracle and the Limp CK, as well as the Phoenix at level 13. The experience advantage does feel pretty strong still at about 5.5k for compLexity. So the merits of dual lanes in a non-dual lane meta. Z-Freak already level 14, has 2 levels in the Supernova. Mason makes his way up to the north and will be able to TP to safety. Mason's been playing very well thus far on the Weaver. 3-0-0. He hasn't assisted a single kill, but has taken the last hit on 3 of his team's 7. And he's yet to die, so that's kind of the key. Stayed on the map, 2nd overall in net worth behind a Radiance lifestealer, so certainly has done well to keep up, and those 3 kills helping in that cause. CCNC showing himself mid lane, and the Dire side do have a little bit of vision uphill, it being daytime with this ward, so they may be able to make the move on CCNC, but now he will be supported by his teammates. Perfect positioning by Death. Immediately into the split. Grip up on the Doom. Sunray is there as well. They get into the backlines, but they won't be able to silence Z-Freak. He jumps forward. Supernova is there. The Doom is the first to die. Mason getting low, but he looks like he will survive for now off to the west, and they will be able to isolate another. That's going to be the Boris Earth Spirit. Mason going to make it away, but Z-Freak finds him. Mason does still have the time lapse. And he looks like he'll be okay. Oh, they get the open wounds. There's a sentry nearby. Mason in trouble again. It could be his first death of the game. The Spirit Vessel is going to kill him out. Nice infest as well from Miracle, getting the kill. 4 times dominating kill streak ended as he was the one to pick up the kill on 3-4-3. And the only kill net by Faze's side. And it's a big, big win for compLexity. Could have meant a Roche, but they know they're not very good at Roche. And why, after taking such a good engagement, without Phantasm available, without Supernova available, without Primal Split available, would you leave yourself vulnerable to a contest by Faze? So I think a very wise decision by compLexity. And their shot calling has been very much on point this game thus far. They will opt not to go for the Roche after taking a wonderful fight in the mid lane. Z-Freak's Spirit Vessel doing work this game thus far, and his Phoenix in general. It helps when you have max fire spirits on your Phoenix. Chain Frost is still level 1 for Jubei. All ultimates level 1 for the other supports. The only support to have a level 2 ultimate is Z-Freak's Phoenix. Z-Freak makes even unflashy heroes look flashy. I mean, certainly Phoenix can make some plays, but he's not necessarily considered, you know, the highest skill cap hero. And he does have a Sange, so looks like he's working on a Halberd. Could be very nice versus Mason. He's not a hero that's going to build into BKB, more than likely. He actually has straight MKB after the Dragonlance, of course, very effective against the Drunken Brawler. And against the Radiance. So certainly a sensible item pickup for Mason, but it still renders him very sort of fragile. I mean, Treads and Dragonlance is nothing to scoff at, but he certainly can be bursted in the duration of a grip or a long duration CK stun. It is going to be a BKB for CSC&C. He's about 700 gold away from that. Make that 600. Midas on death as well. So we talked about dual lanes, but I suppose double Midas certainly helping. 2 Midases to 1. It's always something to note. Shout out Grandigram. Oh, it's actually 2 Midases to 2. What am I saying? So the Midas Wars are even, but experience still in the favor of compLexity. Ward goes out on the top high ground. They're going to find Jubei and get him for free. They also get the stun off onto the Earth Spear. Can they get 2 for this? Nice body block by Miracle. Boris is going to fall as well. Huge silence coming out from the Earth Spear, but no follow-up in sight, and this will likely mean the tier 1 is free for compLexity. The lanes are pushed out well enough that they don't have to worry much about their towers mid. As Z-Freak even going to make his way over to mid, and the Phantasm Illusion is going to be sent. That was 4 Phantasm Illusions, right? All right, I don't want to get into it, but
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Maybe it was a rune. Who knows? You can flame me in chat, boys, because I don't know. Ah, the old BSJ Ancient Black Dragon Radiance strat. Got the Fireball as well. Push the lanes with ease. Of course, not as strong now that Ancients can be affected by magic damage, so. But this is fun and memey regardless. Boris just being chased here. Actually is going to get gone on as the Brain Sap comes out, and a nice Nightmare from 343 as well, sealing the Earth Spirit's fate. Miracle did use the Rage, so had to duck himself into the trees, but still, Manta Radiance complete, feeling very tanky, and a nice play by the stand-in 343. compLexity may just consider him full-time after that one. 1,000 experience going the way of a foursome of heroes for that kill. Halberd completed up by Z-Freak. Mason even being overtaken now by CC&C with just kind of the Midas ticking over time. CC&C did complete up the BKB as well, which will be really nice in these fights, just to not get locked down or cycloned up by the Brewmaster. But now it feels like there's enough physical damage that Limp and Miracle can actually kill the Death Prophet under BKB. We'll see how it pans out. Of course, she has the Frost Armor on top of that and her Spirit Siphons. So CC&C very effectively tanky. Eul Scepter available as well. And they'll duck themselves into the pit. Sentry going to be dropped down. Up on the high ground. And again, they'll lead forward with Miracle and the Primal Split. BKB popped by CC&C, but he's got no targets to siphon just yet. And now he's in the pit. BKB duration dwindling here, about 3 seconds. Gets bashed by Roche. Could be in a lot of trouble here. Death is going to lose the Wind Panda. Jump forward from Limp. Eul Scepter will dodge the CK Bolt. And Sunray from the high ground. Miracle, though, they're going to work on Monkeys Forever. A big silence from CC&C. The Chain Frost bounces through, but it's mostly onto the Phantasm Illusions and now down to Death. CC&C, Spirit Vessel, Icarus Dive is there as well. Sinister Gaze will keep the Phoenix down on the low ground, and the return of the Exorcism Spirits will keep up CC&C's Death Prophet. Jubei will not be so lucky. Shrine is not active, and Miracle going to continue to chase forward with the Rage. Kick and Eul Scepter onto the Death Prophet, but should only delay the inevitable as he's out of mana. And Boris sticks around to die as well, more than likely. He's going to actually be able to roll down to the south. But it's a 3-0 for compLexity. And right now, it just feels like there's really no answer to this free entrance they're giving to the Brewmaster into the fight. I will catch the fight recap this time, so you guys don't flame me. And it's going to be 1,800 net gold. Look at all that damage done by Miracle in that fight with the Radiance and the right clicks. The CC&C damage as well. So a lot of physical damage, as we talked about before the fight, coming out from those two heroes. And the 10-second BKB charge from CC&C popped. But then, you know, as he popped his BKB, everyone just kind of just ran and reset for compLexity. And so he had to duck back into the pit on the Death Prophet, and more or less they re-engaged when that BKB duration was up. I wouldn't have even minded, honestly, for CC&C to BKB, run in the pit, TP home, and get everyone out this way, and just concede the Roche at that point, once you have popped your BKB in sort of a poor scenario. But they choose to stick around and fight it. They're unable to stick on a target. Again, Monkeys is blown up immediately. I don't think we've seen a single Doom aside from the unnecessary one on the Lifestealer up top in this game. So it's been a very rough go for Monkeys. KDA wise, he's 1-4-2. You know, tied for the most core deaths on his team. The support's certainly having a rough time. The Lich is absolute food for this LS and CK. Speaking of CK and the Lich being food, up to the high ground they go. And Jubei, as you know, on cue, is going to be beaten to his death. 25 minutes and the Skeleton Man goes to the grave. Nice big silence from CC&C, but nothing to follow up. Oh, Primal Split from Death. He's going to chase forward again. They are just going to beat on the tower and use the duration of this split. They will take out the Wind Panda pretty quickly. The Fire Panda actually falls as well. But they'll get the tier 3 for now. It was only the first Roche of the game, so no cheese. Miracle will get caught here by the roll. They'll jump forward. BKB onto Mason, pressing silence onto 3-4-3. They will be able to take out the Earth Spirit, though, with the CK, who has a Phantasm up once again. And Death going to be taken down. Monkeys brought in and hit hard. But the Frost Nova keeping everyone... Chain Frost, excuse me, keeping everyone within striking distance, and Monkey's able to make it out. Now Supernova comes out. Jubei is the only one right-clicking it. Miracle, raged up, takes out the Lich, and the stun is there. On to 3. Miracle with the Infest, kills off another. That's going to be CC&C. Mason in trouble, and Z-Freak, again, the savior of compLexity. Mason going to die. Double kill for this Phoenix. 6-1-16. And Miracle tips his support player. Well deserved. Death back into the fight. He did buy back. I figured the Brewmaster died there, but it's 5 deaths for the Radiant side. They'll lose the racks here. They do have the buybacks on the Weaver and the DP. We'll see if they expend them here to try and defend mid lane, but they don't have an Exorcism. And they do now have BKB on Mason. But it looks like it'll be 2 lanes of racks here. There is a tier 2 standing, so it seems to be the plan from Faze is just to give up these 2 lanes and wait out the respawns. Monkeys jumps forward. Miracle, really not concerned with the big man. Has an assault cuirass completed, so these buildings, they go down quite quickly. And Miracle will do a bit of charitable work as he gives the last hit over to the siege creep. Sticking around for a bit, Aegis will expire in 1 minute and 20 seconds. But a very, very confident Lifestealer remains in the Radiant base. And will now back away. The rest of his unit pushing in bottom lane. But anyways, 6-1 and 16. How much can you say about this Z-Freak guy? 22 of the 27 kills net by compLexity he's been involved in. Miracle really wants something to use his Midas on. And 3-4-3 takes out one of the only targets. There it is.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen. Radiant's bottom shrine is under attack.
Miracle just daring the Faze lineup to initiate on him. Really wants to die right now. 30 seconds till the Aegis expires.
Radiant's bottom shrine.
Boulder Smash comes out. Silence is there as well. Sunray from the low ground going to keep the Lifestealer up. He doesn't mind dying here, though. I don't even think he'll use his Rage. Okay, he does. Open wounds out onto CC&C. He can just wait this out until the regen kicks in, which will be in 5 seconds. Smoke out, though. 5 seconds till the regen kicks in. Regen? There it is. Kicks in on the Lifestealer. They smoke up, ready to fight. Primal Split. Phantasm is there as well. CC&C does get the BKB off, but he's being right-clicked into. No one dealing with the Supernova. CC&C makes it over to the west, gets a nice silence off. Boris is forced to run away, but the stun from the Supernova keeps the Earth Spirit in place, and now the Sunray keeping Limp alive as CC&C forced to Cyclone himself into the air with the Yules. Open wounds, taken out. Z-Freak still alive on this Phoenix. 3,200 HP for this Phoenix. And yeah, I got a man crush on Zach, who's had a just monster of a game. Godlike triple kill for Miracle will be the nail in the coffin in game 1 as Faze is taken out to compLexity. Unfortunately, Monkey's insider info was not enough to take them over the hump in this first game. And, I have to click on the MVP here. Look at that. Look at that beautiful face, guys. Level 24 Phoenix. Z-Freak 6-1 and 22. And, of course, I clicked out of that one. RIP. Can I go back? Damn it. Well, GG. Game 1 goes to compLexity, guys. Hope you guys are enjoying the broadcast thus far here on twitch.tv/BeyondTheSummit2. MRP going to be back shortly with your next game, Colop 1-Zip.